Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Great to be together. Let's let a few folks get in. I am, you'll see from the title of today, Loudon County. If you haven't seen the video images, Loudon County, Virginia. Sometimes I wonder how I go from place to place and end up at the center of so much action. Loudon County, Virginia is just one county to the west of where I live. I live in Fairfax County, Virginia, and Fairfax is a totally liberal place. Loudon County's not. And so there was some stuff there last night. I will connect the dots for you, and you will know what you now know in a moment. But let's make sure we don't miss the Pledge of Allegiance. And I like to put it up so that Macy Gray can say the pledge in case Macy Gray wants to badmouth the flag. Here comes the flag and the pledge. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody. And let's go back to our headline here. New Gulag, the new Gulag. I've started to say this because I'm so mad about it. I don't even know enough about the Gulag. I promise you I'm going to read more about it today, but I do have on my bookshelf lots of descriptions of how the communists have mistreated, especially in China, by the way. I've got some Chinese, but also the Soviet communists. I mean, we know the stories, right? We know the stories, and we know the term Gulag. And the Gulag is a place where they sent people to be re-educated and mostly to be off the streets, right? To be taken out of the circulation during the communists. And it's happening in China. The Chinese communists are doing that with whether Falun Gong or persecuting Christians or the Uyghurs or whomever. Lots of different things. But last night in Loudon County, we saw a school board meeting. Now, whenever I see a school board meeting, I think of Field of Dreams. One of my favorite movies is Field of Dreams, and the scene in Iowa where the Ray Kinsella and his wife go to the school board meeting, and they're talking about the books and banning books, and it just makes me smile. But last night in Loudon County, they had a school board meeting, and here's what's insane about what's happening. First, the board of Loudon County, which is full of conservatives, got at least a handful. Maybe I think there are 9 members of the county board of education, or the board of education for Loudon County. I think that's right. 9 members, at least a handful, 4 to 5 are conservative. I think more of them may be Republican. They voted 9-0 to shut down the public meeting. So the right to freedom of assembly being shut down in Loudon County, and then they arrested, I think the reports are 4 people. I only saw physically 1 person arrested, but I heard reports of 4. But they're arresting people for freedom of assembly. And I am drawn to the messaging of Julie Kelly, my friend who writes over at American Greatness. And she has talked about, what do you think that January 6th has been used? They lied about it. They lied about the January 6th, whatever you call it, march, protest, rally. Like, I could call it a protest. I'm willing to say it's a protest. A rally, though, they lied about it in such a way that they've weaponized it against we the people. And so it's now fashionable to have people in prison, rotting in prison in D.C. We have a former federal judge for the jurisdiction that would be prosecuting these folks that are being held. And he says on camera, oh, yeah, I was there. I worked on this, and oh, yeah, being sent to jail when you're a first-time offender, like these people that came up to a march on Washington, and they marched on Washington, and these people, they won't know what's going to happen to them. The D.C. prisons are really bad. Oh, they're really tough, and it's really going to be hard on them. It's going to be really brutal. It's going to be terrible. And by the way, prosecutor said, well, they deserve it. Excuse me? Innocent until proven guilty, due process, a measure of a system that's not corrupt, or punish speech, punish assembly that you don't like, and let them sit in prison. And I can tell you, most normal people, when they're put under that pressure, all of you, me, are going to find it very hard to hold out. Most people crack. Go back and study the treatment of POWs in the Hanoi Hilton. The best men, a lot of them cracked. Now, that was torture, but the point is that human beings are put into positions of pain and suffering and isolation with real intention, with real expertise. Let me digress for a second and say, big tech uses the same tactics. They isolate people, take them off of Twitter, take them off of Facebook, isolate their messaging. It's not quite like being in a jail. I get that. But the point is that the left and the establishment in this country, they know what they're doing. They're not messing around now. I'm really mad about this. You got people arrested in Loudon County. You got an education board that won't stand up for the people. They're talking about critical race theory and teaching our kids that they're either victims or they're bigots. That's what critical race theory does. It says to the class of kids, you got 50 kids in a class. If 15 of them are black, you say you're a victim. And the other 35, I was an English major, not a math major. 35, you're a bigot. Do you know what happens when you tell kids that there's something bad over and over again? You tell them that they're a victim. You tell them that they're a product. You tell them that they're a target, that you should be this or that or the other thing. Every parent knows you got to build kids up. You got to build kids up. And right now they're tearing them down. So they have a meeting in Loudon County and they're arresting people. Now, I saw the video. Nobody's violent. Again, nobody's violent. The reason why, and you'll hear it, I'm sure you'll start to hear it from the Department of Justice and others, is because they have to target the people that they think have such a wrong view on the world that they're going to have to get involved. And in D.C., they're going to let them sit in prison, rot in prison, suffer in prison, be devastated in prison because, well, they deserve it, as the prosecutor said. They deserve it. I'm sorry at this point. You know the movie, The Enemy of the State, The Enemy of the State, Will Smith, very haunting, actually. It's old now. It's haunting. But the enemy is the state at this point. You know, you can't, you read the piece by Julie Kelly on the FBI. There's a paragraph in there where she says, the FBI said this, and it was a lie. They said this, it was a lie. They said this, it was a lie. They said FISA warrants, Flynn, Russiagate, all of it. And here we are. And the enemy of the people, of our freedom, of who we are, is right now the state that's on the march. But they're on the march in part because, again, big tech and big media are brainwashing us. Big media, they're doing it, brainwashing. John Brennan, James Clapper are on TV participating in brainwashing. And big tech is changing our brains, neuroscience. And so they're on the march. And meanwhile, in our cities, they're shooting each other, killing each other, slaughtering each other in Chicago. The Biden administration knows the disaster. But the disaster is all around us. Slaughtering each other in our cities, arresting people in our capital, in our counties, and putting our kids through suffering. And our border is out of control. They're overrunning our country. Last night I filled in on a radio show, Andrea Kaye show, and Mickey Kaus said, at this point, Ed, I used to think that the Democrats wanted to flood America with illegals because, well, they wanted to have later on down the line some voters, but they really wanted cheap labor and they wanted to create a dependency in the country and all that kind of stuff. I'm paraphrasing. He said, now I think they're doing it to overrun the country because they know it's going to backlash and they want to get as many voters in now. I don't know whether it's true or not. I'm just saying it's his opinion. He changed his opinion in the last few days because what he's seeing. And meanwhile, the Chinese communists are sending in fentanyl and killing up close to 100,000 people a year. And we're sitting around here, you know, having a discussion about I don't know what, Joe Biden's dog. I mean, it is, it's a problem. It's a problem. So I want you to not be discouraged. Of course, you always have to be encouraged. We have the right people and the right tools. We can keep charging forward and making progress, but you have to be real about it. We have to be real about it. There are targeting voices now. They're targeting our right to assemble. They're targeting these things. We have to be clearer about it. We have to be angry about it, and we have to start demanding. I said there's one of the guys on the Loudon school board. He's supposed to be a good guy, conservative, supposed to be great conservative, all that. He voted 9-0, wanted 9-0 to shut down the meeting. We don't need people that are right on the issues that can't vote when push comes to shove. We've had that. We've had that. We're in push comes to shove territory, and we got to get to the bottom of it. So that's all I've got. Watch for the Gulag. It's coming to your county and coming very soon. We'll talk later.